much for being back. And if you just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for this morning. The National Assembly and civic organization Budge It have clashed over the alleged insertion of 11,122 projects worth 6.93 trillion naira into Nigeria's 2025 budget. Budge It accused the lawmakers of padding the appropriation bill with projects not aligned with the medium-term National Development Plan of 2021 to 2025 or other national priorities. The group said that these projects were not proposed by the executive and reflected a growing culture of budget abuse and political self-interest. In response, both the Senate and the House of Representatives dismissed allegations, reaffirming their constitutional authority to amend the budget. However, Budge It maintained that the scale and nature of the insertions suggested deep-rooted exploitation of the budgeting process. The organization revealed that 238 projects, each valued above 5 billion naira and totaling 2.29 trillion naira, were inserted without sufficient justification. It also noted that 984 projects worth 1.71 trillion and 1,119 projects between 500 million and 1 billion naira, amounting to 641.38 billion, were similarly added without clear links to national needs. A budget country director Gabriel Okeowo stressed the urgent need for reform, warning that unchecked project insertion had derailed national planning, weakened public trust, and diverted funds from critical development priorities. He called for transparency and integrity in Nigeria's budgeting process. Let's get talking on this particular very sensitive yet very important topic for today. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for hanging around. Truly do appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Mecca, this is a very big revelation. If this were to happen in a Senate climb, lots of heads would roll definitely. But Nigeria, same old, same old. It doesn't matter to us whatsoever. We still see justification, very embarrassing ones. Emeka, speak to us.
Yeah, to me, it's very embarrassing. Over 6 trillion on projects. When you have an executive, I've said it. That constituency project thing was actually brought in some years ago, just as as a bribe. Let me just be as clear as possible. As a bribe, just to placate members of National Assembly into becoming the rubber stamp that they are today. There's no need for all those constituency projects. There's no need for them, because you cannot double cross. The problem is that we have all kinds of people competing, to do the job of the executive. You have the federal government, you have the state government, you have the local government, then you have a plethora of interventionist agencies. President Bola Tinubu has, created another set of development agencies. In the Niger Delta, you have the Niger Delta Development Commission. You also have the South-South Development Commission, all aiming to do what? You have governors in the state, you have local governments, and you still have development commissions. Then, to make matters worse, you have these constituency projects. And I've said it, these things cannot help us, because what do you need constituency projects for? What do you need constituency projects for? Is the job of the National Assembly just to make laws? Is the job of the executive to execute? It's never the job of the National Assembly to list projects, because these things will be at variance with, with the projected outlines, with project outlines of the federal, states, and local governments. And I hope that somebody will be able to get the Supreme Court to put an end to this constituency project, because it's unnecessary. 6 trillion, and how much are we borrowing out of the budget? 13 trillion. Can you imagine? We are going to borrow 13 trillion to fund this year's budget. That's already a deficit. And you have thousands of abandoned projects across Nigeria. Unneeded projects are not needed. Now, the issue is this. The removal of subsidy has provided more money to the different tiers of government. Yet, the lives of the people have not improved. One of the strange things about what is going on in Nigeria today is that the inflation is being fueled by excessive government borrowing and spending. But they don't want us to look at that angle. The capital market, the Nigerian government is borrowing heavily from it. Nigerian government, and that's why you see interest rates are so high, because they crowd out private investors. They crowd out private borrowers, because the government is ready to pay 30%, even 50% interest on borrowed money. That's why you see a lot of portfolio investors flocking to the Nigerian capital market. Just put in some money, like somebody was saying, put in 1 million, you can get 18 to 20,000 every week or every month. Put in 100 million, you're talking about getting 30 million or so every month. You're going to get a lot of money. You're going to get very good money. Very good money. That when you spread it, you're going to get like 30 million naira. Then imagine when you spread it, you're getting something about over almost 3 million naira every month. So that's why there's a propensity to steal. You can say you listed a constituency project and then you listed the contractor. Once the contractor gets the money, they just do one patch work and hand over the rest of the money to you. It might even be your company, your own company. You, the lawmaker, the company, your own company that has been chosen to do the work. And then you just collect the money and put it in your pocket. That's why you see them passing all kinds of ridiculous things. That's why you saw them speedily approve the illegal state of emergency in Rivers State. That's why you'll be seeing all manner of ridiculous things. Why? Because this constituency project thing has now become the medication to make our National Assembly look the other way. But it's unacceptable. It cannot continue. We cannot continue like this. Look at the insertion of boreholes everywhere. Do we know what we're doing to our ecosystem by sinking boreholes indiscriminately? There have been warnings, repeated warnings. But when it has to do with money in Nigeria, we can as well see a disaster coming and we look away because there's money. In fact, we even look at how much are we going to make through that disaster. That is how bad things have become. And I commend the budget for making these revelations. The National Assembly that is fighting back is only wasting its time, because I hope that one day in the future we'll have a government that will actually descend on all these people. We'll actually scrap all these areas of waste. We have too much waste in this country, duplicating functions in this country.
But Emeka, how are we sure? How are we sure that this will not be swept under the carpet? Remember, the executive, controlled by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the legislature, which is becoming an appendage of the executive, are all under the control of one man. So, do you really think something will be done about this, or they would definitely find a way to? They will find a way to justify everything and life moves on?
I don't think anything will be done about it. I don't think anything will be done about it. That's why the economy is in a mess now. That's why you have inflation. That's a simple thing. All these people telling you Tinubu didn't cause this. Look, they know in themselves that they are talking nonsense. They know. They know that they are really half-witted fellows. They lack intelligence. That is why they'll be saying such rubbish. Who caused it? Who caused? When you came in, you said you were going to implement the Steve Oronsai report. Why have you not done it? Why have you not done it? Why have you not done away with all these duplications of functions? It's a lot. The state government are budgeting. You are also budgeting. The federal government is budgeting. You also. It distorts the process of budgeting. And that's why you have a completed project, because it's not just about setting up a project. It's also about supervising it. All this money we keep talking about, infrastructure, Lagos-Calabar Highway and all kinds of funny projects. If you put this money into a stimulus plan and use it to help MSMEs, if you use, there'll be a lot of money in circulation. Not necessarily cash, but at least the economy will be liquid. Purchasing power will become higher again. It will be high again. And then the demand for goods.
All right, I think we have a little bit of a glitch there. Let's still talking about the budget pardon as revealed by a civic organization, the budget, and what we have to do about that. Emeka was speaking to that particular matter and asking the most important question: who is to be held accountable? And if the executive plus the legislature are not in cahoot to ensuring that what we see today in Nigeria is a reality with respect to the rascality with policies that we make. Most importantly, we have it right now with the budget of 2025. This is still Enterprise Morning. We'll be right back in a bit. Please don't go anywhere. Let's go for a quick short break. Being back just before we went for that quick break, we had Emeka Amadunagu, and our talk for today is the budget pardon as made, discovered and published by Budget. Emeka, you were saying something just before we had that little glitch that allowed us to go for break.
Yeah, what I was saying is just that the Tinubu administration needs to take a second look at its focus on infrastructural development vis-a-vis, its impact on human capital development. Because it's not enough to just put up structures, demolish people's houses to make way for roads, bridges, rail lines, and all of that, power lines, gas lines, and all of those things. You got to also assess the impact. How much money is being taken away from the people? How the people are being displaced? Rather, you should do things that will put more money in the hands of people. Things that will, enable the people to have, to enjoy a better access, access to better living conditions. And so this duplication or triplication, this multiplication of projects is part of what is fueling inflation in the country. It's part of what has led to the rise in this, price of cement, prices of building materials. Because everybody just wants to be involved in building. And so it's fueling inflation without, bringing relief to the people. Those are not the things that people are looking for. Because these boreholes, like I have one in my town, that was, this consultancy project, that was, a borehole sunk by a former member of the House of Representatives in my town. The borehole is no longer functioning. It's there.
Why?
No maintenance, nothing. The tanks are there. Nobody, was there any arrangement for maintenance? That's what we're talking about, duplication, multiplication of projects. Because if you have, if that project had been handed over to the local government would have oversight of the maintenance of that project. So in other words, is the local government a water department or whatever department you have to go to say, this borehole is no longer working. But the truth is that all the taps have been broken. No water is coming out from there. And the tanks are there, baking in the sun. So, of what use are all these consultancy projects? There's another one again of, in my town too, by a senator. Interestingly, he's back as the senator of my constituency. A pavilion project. A pavilion project that, as we speak, nobody is using. The place is just useless. There was a windstorm that blew off the cover. blew up the roofing of the constituency of the pavilion. And it's just there. Nobody's using it. The building they attached to it, nobody's using it. It's just there. Wasting space, taking up space, valuable space. So, and then now the people have come to realize that, wait a minute, would it not be better if we could get a private sector person to come and maybe set up a warehouse or factory or something in this place, so that we can get better use of this place. So when you look at all of these things, you go to many places, you see police stations built, nobody's there. You see clinics, you see hospitals, medical facilities, you see schools built without put up by National Assembly members, without consulting with the state or local governments. So who is going to maintain? Because the states and local governments, they have a budget. So if you just go and put a project now, how are they going to? They will tell you where they're going to get the money to maintain it. That the ones they have, they are still looking for money for regular maintenance. That's why you see the other time they were saying some mischievous positions were saying that Peter Obi, as governor of Anambra, said that he didn't build any new school, he didn't build any new hospital, which is just a lie. But let's even look at how laughable it is. Look at the ones that are in existence, even in the state of those mockers. The ones that are in existence, how well maintained are they? Then it's not just enough to be building schools, building universities, building this, building hospitals. What is the plan? What is the strategic plan for maintenance? What's the strategic plan for maintenance? So that is the problem. So all these constituency projects are just a waste. You give out tricycles, rickshaws, you give out shuttle buses to people. And what you're doing is you're keeping the people permanently impoverished. Because what is the plan for the maintenance of those vehicles? Is that the best form of urban transportation you can get? So when you look at all of these things, after some time, the people sell off those things because they believe it's their own share of the national cake. Why not do things that impact better on the lives of the people? You are distributing rice, you are distributing cash. All of these things cannot improve the lives of the people. They cannot. When the rice finishes, what are they going to eat? Instead of and then you look at another area again of waste. You talk about empowerment programs, skills training. When you finish training these people, what provision are you making for them to be employed, gainfully employed? What provision are you making? You just say, okay, you give them 100,000 to go and set up. It's just like what they are doing with the so-called repentant Boko Haram. They train them. After training them, they give them transport fare and 50,000 naira to go back. So when the 50,000 naira is finished, what are they going to be eating? People have been used to kidnapping, used to terrorism, used to insurgency. And the people you give 50,000 naira to return to their villages. A lot of them have become outcasts in their villages. They can't even return to their villages. What are you going to do with 50,000 naira now? Even in the remotest rural area in Nigeria, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with that? So I think we need to, we must scrap areas of waste, because these constituency projects have become a conduit pipe for waste in our country, and we can no longer sustain it.
Yes, Emeka, I would have loved that we all be on one page on this particular matter, because lots of Nigerians might not really understand why that 6-point-something trillion is within the budget. Was that made to satisfy our legislatures, or was that going into project by the executive? Which is that money going to? Is it to the constituency project for senators, or was it going to the executive for a project implementation?
No. The way it is that it is money reserved for, the legislators will identify projects they want done in their constituencies.
Okay.
So the money will now be, and then they have a choice to select the contractors. So those contractors the money will now be paid to the contractors.
Okay, so the
carry
6
out those
point something
projects.
trillion is for constituency projects for senators.
Yes, for senators and members of the House of Representatives. Okay. So the money is paid to the contractors. But oftentimes, you just find out that there is no maintenance element attached to those projects. And in Nigeria, we have a poor maintenance culture. We have a poor maintenance culture in Nigeria generally. So we just set up projects without, strategic consideration about their longevity and their utilitarian value in the long run. Why would you have 20 institutions, 20 schools that you cannot maintain? Is it not better if you have 5 that you can maintain and keep them at the highest standards possible? Is it not better? But, because we play politics with everything, But when Peter Obi was governor of Anambra State, he returned mission schools to their owners and then now supported them with funding. He said it's better that way. Let them maintain their schools. They set up the schools. Let them maintain them. Government can now assist them because they have now become stakeholders and partners in the educational sector, in the state. And that is how it should be. Like in farming, for instance, instead of saying your constituency project is to provide boreholes or is to
Are you still there, Emeka? All right, we're still talking about the papers of the said money, which budget has revealed about 6 point something trillion naira, a very humongous sum, really, which Emeka had clarified is going to constituency projects for parliamentarians serving within the 10th Assembly. It's really so sad that we are experiencing this at a time like this, and it's very true, according to Emeka, that most of the constituency projects embarked by parliamentarians do not last as much as they are supposed to. The longevity is not there. A maintenance culture is not brought into consideration for some of these projects. Once they are built in less than 1 year or 24 months, most of those projects become moribund, and there's no one to actually take care of them. The question is, of what significance then is the project if it is built and there's no one to take advantage or maintain them for the peoples it is meant for? That's all we would love to take on today's edition of Enterprise Morning Conversation, a session of the show. I love to believe you enjoyed our show just like I did here, and also I love to believe you equally have been clarified on issues regarding the budget pardon for the 2025. Thank you so very much for being here. Please do well to visit us if you may. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.